the Center for Spiritual Living in Margaritaville, San Fernando Valley, here in Granada Hills. Welcome to our Sunday service. Today we have our guest musician, Teresa James. In about 15 minutes or so, I'll be speaking to Standing on Shiva. So thank you for joining us online today, and be sure to use the chat feature. We'll see you soon. Bye now. Hey, it's the Rev. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living.
Sing with me when we get to the chorus. If your problems won't go away and you're worried night and day, just hand it over. Get on your knees and pray. Yeah, if you're sick and feeling low, got no money, nowhere to go, just hand it over. Get on your knees and pray. So hand it over, hand it over. Give it up, give it up, give it over, hand it over. Get on your knees and pray. There ain't no mountain you can't climb. Ain't no answer you can't find. All you need is a hand to hold. Gonna heal your body, feed your soul. Where the road is dark and you can't find your way, just let the Spirit light the way. Hand it over. Get on your knees and pray. Now y'all, here we go. Hand it over, hand it over, give it up, give it over, just hand it over, get on your knees and pray.
Bum, bum, bum. Oh, nice use of the new railing there, Reverend Kathy. So welcome one and all. Michael, can you please pull that partition over about a foot? Nice to have you joining us here in the sanctuary, where we are luxuriating in a nice, cool 74-degree sanctuary while you are at home sweating. But remember, heaven and hell are not places, but states of consciousness. So if you had a consciousness like us, you could be nice and cool right now in heaven. All right, so welcome those of you here in the room. Welcome to those of you joining us online. If this is your first time, this smart aleck you just heard from is the spiritual director here at the Center for Spiritual Living in Granada Hills. We are in the North San Fernando Valley, and we are a place who welcome all who practice their beliefs and faith and love. And we are joined today for our musical inspiration of the wonderful Teresa James and the equally wonderful Reverend Kathy Lyons, our mistress of animal ministry. And so let's just get underway by taking a deep conscious breath as we come together for our call to service, which we call Lighting the Flames of Faith. And we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call Spirit. Now, fundamental to this truth is a unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here this morning. So as Reverend Kathy lights the first candle, it's for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. The third candle we light for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. The fourth candle we light for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. The sixth candle we light for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. The seventh candle we light for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. The eighth candle we light for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. The 10th candle we light for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space we hold for them here in the sanctuary, within our online community, and of course within our own hearts. And as Reverend Kathy lights the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experience the healing flame of God's eternal love.
There is one flame that burns in our hearts. There is one that shines through our love. We light this flame with faith. We find this light within our own soul. There is one flame, one light within.
So join me, please, as I speak my word in the first person for everyone here and online. There is that one power, that one presence, which is God, which is the presence of love, joy, and ease. And I am one with God, one with its love, joy, and ease, as I proclaim right now that this service is a perfect and complete idea in the mind of God, and that everyone from Reverend Mike to Teresa, to Mike and Evan and the sound, that every single person here and anywhere in the world who is watching online, that they are just filled with that love, joy, and ease, and knowing right now that this is a wonderful day to celebrate our Sunday service, and just knowing and affirming that all is well. And so I am so grateful right now for the love, joy, and ease that's in this room and online and anywhere in the world as I release my word to the law. It is done, it is so, and together we say, and so it is. Okay, good morning. And today I'd like to share, yesterday I was here while our practitioner training graduates sat before their oral panel. And it was such an honor and privilege to be here. I was holding the high watch and just knowing for them that all was well and they did all pass. And these students, they went through 2 years of practitioner training. They passed a written test and then their oral exam. So they're very qualified. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is to encourage everyone to utilize the services of a practitioner. We announce every week we do have the 2-minute tune-up, and you can go online if you want to have an actual session. And I encourage, if you don't have a practitioner, find somebody and establish a rapport and utilize them. I call Reverend Nancy regularly because sometimes I find myself arguing for my limitations even after all these years. And so somebody like Reverend Nancy, she gets me back on track. Ernest Holmes says, what is a practitioner? One who attempts to heal themselves or another through the recognition of the creative power of mind and the ever availability of good. And that's from the textbook on page 167. And it was so uplifting because I've seen these students grow in the last 2 years. And so I'm just making a plug. Ernest Holmes says the first requisite for a mental and spiritual practitioner is a full sense of sacredness of their trust. So a practitioner session like Vegas, what happens in a session stays in a session. There's very few exceptions. So I encourage you, I know that I have so much respect for this profession. So go online at CSLGH.org and find out there's a little bio, and I'm sure our new students, graduate practitioners, are going to have a bio too. And I know Reverend Mike will eventually introduce them. So if you're ready for new good in your life, call a practitioner, and so it is.
If you lost all your money and your best friend turns bad on you, and your landlord is knocking 'cause your rent's 3 months overdue, well, it's getting harder and harder to stay with the light. That ain't no reason to give up a fight. You got to get out of your head. Listen to your heart instead. Don't let go. Don't ever stop. Just keep reaching for the top. If your baby leaves you and that man won't even return your call, yeah, and you lost your job, your back's up against the wall, well, you might think I'm crazy, but believe me when I say tomorrow is gonna be another day. You got the world in the palm of your hand. It's all there under your command. Yeah, you're holding the ball, don't let it drop. Just keep reaching for the top. Every day when I wake up, I say today I'm gonna be a better human. Yeah, if my neighbor's down, I gotta reach out and lend a hand. 'Cause if I help myself, I just might help somebody else. We're all in this together, there ain't nobody else. I might fail, but I'll keep on trying. 'Cause I know it's gonna all be just fine. I might flip, but I'm never gonna flop. I keep reaching for the top. I just keep reaching for the top. I got the world in my hand. I keep reaching for the top.
Thanks, that was great. Thank you. We have some announcements, and like I mentioned in the Creative Thought, there's practitioners available today for 2-minute tune-up. Raise your hands. I see there's a few of us here. And let's see. And then also, like I said too, if you want a session with a practitioner, go to CSLGH.org. Animal Kinship Group meets today. I'm facilitating on Zoom on July 16th at 1. That's today. So if you want to talk about animals, share about your animals, if you're grieving a loss of your pet, come to this group. It's a chance for other people to meet and share their animal stories. Sangha, 8-week hybrid Sangha with Reverend Nicole. The subject is creative art. Workshop Wednesday, July 26, 9:30 a.m. Recommended in person. And contact Reverend Nicole if you'd like to RSVP. Now this is very, very important. Celebration of life for Mr. Orange. I don't know how many of you remember the old church cat that lived in the alley. About a year ago, he was getting old, somebody took him in, and he made his transition to the Rainbow Bridge a couple of months ago. So at 12:30 on July 30th, we're having a celebration of life, and we're also going to do it online. So I was talking about, practitioners helping demonstrate good. That cat did not need a practitioner. He embodied, he was fed from all over the neighborhood, and then he had a pretty lavish life this last several months from the person, her name's Irene, who adopted him. So come and celebrate his life if you'd like. Here's another important workshop that Dr. Maureen's doing, Unconscious Invitation, Breaking the Cycle of Recurring Struggle. And it's in person only, August 5th from 1 to 5 p.m. I'm definitely going. So anything Dr. Maureen does is really good. So really life-changing. Yes. No, she's... Okay. Save the Date Summer Kids Theater Camp with Ginny and Reverend Nicole, August 7th through 11th, 9 to 12. So contact Ginny. I don't have her email, but you can maybe ask somebody after the service. Yeah, call the office. You can talk to Melissa. Oh, yay. I forgot about that. Good. It's supposed to be a really fun thing. So that concludes the announcements. So let's stand for the Declaration of Principles. We believe in one universal spirit, manifesting through all, natural and incarnated in us. We believe that the universal spirit is personal to and reveals itself through everyone who recognizes its presence. We believe that our faith operates upon a law of mind which automatically manifests in our experience according to that faith. We believe in the unity of all life and in the immortality of the individual soul forever expanding. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the givingness of life to all.
Y'all join in with me. I am a light, I am a light, I am a light in this world. I am a light, I am a light, I am a light in this world. And I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright. And I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright. You are a light, you are a light, you are a light in this world. You are a light, you are a light, you are a light in this world. And you shine, and you shine, and you shine so bright. And you shine, and you shine, and you shine so bright. We are the world, we are a light, we are a light in this world. We are a light, we are so bright.
Yeah, Mr. Orange. The cat who never missed a meal. So, yeah, we have a big announcement. So we have 3 new practitioners in our center and 1 waiting in the wings. So for Ginny, Vinu, and Deborah, first of all, we thank them for sticking it out for 2 years of pretty rigorous training. And then there's years of classes before that. And so all of their panelists, we had people from all over our region here to support our center. So we got to meet folks from Founders and Ahia and Ojai and Pleasant Valley. So it was a nice gathering, and of course for our practitioners here in town who could make it in. So it was really nice. And so congratulations to them. Let's give them some love. And we will be having their firewalk induction ceremony. I'm kidding. Although if it doesn't cool off, we may just do a firewalk. Right. So, where's my gizmo? Here it is. And our talk title this week is, well, first, before I get into that, I want to make the official unveiling of our new handrail. I love the way Reverend Kathy just sashayed down, sashayed up. And I'm sure I will not be able to resist the tendency to do this. A little stretch in. All right. So our talk title today, Standing on Shiva. So what the heck is he going to do with that? Well, let's find out. But actually, it does speak to this, our July theme, Speaking Truth to Circumstance, and our annual theme of Living Life Out Loud. And as I've mentioned the last couple of weeks, this is for you, Scott. This is the Swiss Alps. This is for Scott and Deborah. That's not one of your photos, but could have been. And so if you're feeling hot right now at home because you're not in this luxurious air conditioning here in person in the sanctuary, you can look at this image and maybe that'll cool you off. All right. So as I've mentioned the last couple of weeks, the designer for this month's talk notes is Reverend David Robinson out of Olympia, Washington. And this week, he's really challenging us, or I should speak for myself, certainly he's challenging me, to shift perspectives and gain some insight through the imagery of the ancient wisdom through the Hindu tradition. So first of all, my disclaimer and apologies for getting anything wrong here. I'm reporting information as I understood it. Because compared to a Western approach to theology, Hinduism can appear to be quite complex. There appear to be many gods, but as an outsider looking in through the internet, through YouTube videos, and Masala House down on Ventura Boulevard, a wonderful Indian food restaurant. I like mine very mild. But Stephanie, man, the stuff she can eat. Yeah. So anyway, what it feels like an ancient spiritual system that's attempting to address the complexity of life by assigning rituals and practices to specific gods, or perhaps even guardians, that they're guardians of these various aspects of life. So this is just a small sampling. It's kind of the pantheon of the more highly regarded deities. Saraswati, Ganesh, many of us have heard of, Krishna, of course, Vishnu, Rama, Lakshmi, and Shiva. But today we're going to be speaking to Durga and Kali, who got cut off here. Now, and another thing to know about the Hindu tradition is that it's something that very much embraces the notion of the divine feminine, right? In the Western thought, it's very patriarchal. This is wide open, and it also has ideas of the universal, a much more expansive notion of how the universe works that's infinite in nature. So they were, and this was a couple thousand years before anything that was coming out of the West in the way of philosophy. And, it's interesting, Krishna, Christ. So what we know about languages now, it's a whole, it's its own study, the proto-languages of Indo-Euro languages. So I don't know how they figure it out, but they do, and how it all came to be, that the ones called the noble ones came out of what we would call the steppes of Eurasia and then made their way. Some went to the Indus Valley, and others went into what we know today as Iraq. And even so the root languages of these cultures are tied together. So with the Avesta, the Vendata, things like that. So it's very interesting for nerds like me, and maybe there's a nerdy side to you that likes such things. But getting back to the divine feminine, so there's, in this article that I read, because I'm going to guess there's probably many, many more, the 10 main wisdom goddesses. So you have Kali, which was the power of time, Tira, the power of hunger. So these are the wisdom goddesses here. So you have the power of sacrifice, of knowledge, death, poverty, cruelty, dominion, prosperity. So the value then, well, let me just say that there are many deities, and I should think that it would take more than one lifetime to really immerse yourself into the aspects of each one. But I really do think really what the Hindu thinkers and philosophers were encouraging us to do is to explore the nature of being through these various aspects of life, the experience of life that we have. So that each deity has a mythology. So a myth being that which points to some transcendent truth. So a myth is not just a false story. No, it has a kernel of truth within it. And then all of these underneath this notion of Brahman. Brahman, unified field, ground of being, the Godhead. And then within the hearts of all beings, in fact, throughout all of creation, it resides the Atman. The Atman refers to the immortal soul of the human being and is also present in all matter. What happened there? And is also present in all matter. I guess I made such a strong point, the universe had to respond. That the Atman refers to the immortal soul of the human being and is present in all matter. So that the Atman in Hinduism is the universal eternal self, the individual soul that resides within the essential self. The self, large S self, is the witness or observer of an individual's actions and deeds. That Atman is the microcosm essence of Brahman, the macrocosm essence of the universal spiritual force that permeates all things. In religious science, we would say that we are the individualized expression of the Most High, that we are the wave on the vast ocean of consciousness, right? That all that God is in the ocean, that we have in the drop. And that it was from this understanding of life then that we broaden what it is that we believe God is. Because we become to suspect and then maybe even understand that as soon as we put a word on it, then we have boxed God in, if you will, within our own finite understanding of what that is. And this is not to diminish any particular understanding, but rather to embrace, maybe even embellish, to strengthen a belief that we already have. That we really start to see the totality of the Most High in its infinite expressions of life. Not only within our life as individuals, but also collectively in all of the various expressions of life that we come together to express. Whether it's in spiritual community, in governments, in businesses, right? Whatever our creative endeavors may be. So that Holmes writes, and intuitively then, we sense that every man, every person in their native state is some part or manifestation of this eternal principle. And that the entire problem of limitation, evil, suffering, and uncertainty is the result of ignorance. Right? So now we have the universality, which Holmes teaches about all the time, that we are the individualized expression of the Most High, that this universality of the Spirit is the mind of the Most High that is permeating through all of existence, and in fact, all matter down to the smallest aspects to the most grand expressions of that have some essence of the divine within it. Now, clearly, he didn't think this up himself, right? But rather, his thinking was inspired by ancient wisdom himself. So this is just a little background for the story behind today's talk title, Standing on Shiva. All right, so this is based around, let me see what I got here. Oh yeah, good, we can look at this. All right, so this is based on the Hindu story that there's this battle between gods and demons, right? The battle for good and evil. So from the Western perspective, it might be, the fight between Lucifer and Saint Michael, right? So from the fallen angels and to the white hats and the black hats, right? So it's like a universal us against them kind of story. This is from an ancient Hindu story of this battle taking place between gods and demons. That the demons in this battle were winning, that the most ferocious of the demons is a name that I was afraid that I would mangle, so I'm not going to attempt to. Let's just say that he was such a bad actor. He was such a bad actor that so fierce, right? So fierce that the gods turned to Durga. Now, Durga was known as the goddess of compassion and mothering. And this is who they turned to do something. And so then, as a consequence of this, is out of her forehead sprung Kali. So Kali, the fierce warrior goddess. And that Kali proceeded to destroy the demons, but in her frenzy was killing everything that stood, everyone and everything. And this is depicted in this imagery here. So this is Durga. You'll often see her riding a lion to denote her power. Kali has her tongue sticking out because she actually devoured these demons as she slew them. And then she had a mala made up of skulls. And then here is the head of this gnarly demon. So out of her forehead sprung the fierce warrior goddess. Now, how can we tie this into a modern understanding of the divine feminine taking on this evil demon? Is you might think of Earl. So the song Goodbye Earl, I guess nobody listens to country. It was like flat in the first service too. Nobody knows this song, Goodbye Earl? Okay, your assignment is to look up the Dixie Chicks, and this will all make sense. All right. And thank God I didn't talk you into playing this for the Sunday song today. So not to be confused with the song Goodbye Earl. And by the way, while I'm on it, talk about a rabbit hole. You go looking up Goodbye Earl, and it'll take you to all kinds of different ways you can knock off your husband, and divorce parties, and women burning their wedding dresses on. There's a whole cultural thing behind that. All right, but back to Durga. So Durga, who's associated with protection, strength, motherhood, destruction, and war. So Durga's legend centers around combating evils and demonic forces that threaten peace, prosperity, dharma, representing the power of good over evil. So now facing the ultimate demon then, out of her forehead bursts Kali, unleashing this indiscriminate killing frenzy until Shiva, the destroyer of illusion, threw himself under her feet, allowing her to come to herself and to stop mindlessly killing. So the imagery around this is within the modern world, is that when we feel like we are facing demons within our own life, it's important that we stand like Shiva, that we stand in the truth that there's something greater going on here. I'm thinking, I was thinking when Teresa played her first song, we have people now who are going to be, who have been, so the writers have been impacted for some time now. We have the actors out, and we have so many people, even within our own center, who are impacted by the strike. So my uncle Jimmy was 44 years in the union with set dressers, and so this battle, if you will, is going to have implications that are only just beginning to be felt throughout the greater community. But within the lives of the individual, it must feel like a battle between good and evil. And in fact, if anybody listened to Fran Dresser, she really got her Jewish Irish up the other day, because she was very well spoken about her position of this particular thing. So what does this mean for us? It doesn't mean that we don't face challenging aspects to life, okay? But what we strive to do is to allow the conditions to rule our life. That we don't deny the condition, but rather we deny the power the condition has over us. So Shiva, the destroyer of illusion, threw himself under her feet, allowing her to come to herself and stop mindlessly killing. And when we remember and stand in truth, as Shiva did by throwing himself under the blood-crazed Kali, that it brings her back to center. So Scott, this is good for us to remember, right? Okay, so as a religious scientist, it's helpful to remember when we go to war with conditions, we can get lost in the battle, forgetting our real purpose. That grounding in truth brings us back to remembering. So David writes that in this story there are several symbolic elements. First is the main demon has a superpower, if you will, that if cut, any drop of blood that touches the ground then results in duplicating himself, right? And which also means that when these duplicates get cut, they too are duplicating themselves. So this evil then is replicating itself in exponential ways. And sometimes we can get caught up in our own thing, and that our thinking magnifies whatever challenge we are going through in exponential ways before we get ourselves all worked up and don't know what to do with ourselves. The drop of his blood that touches the ground results in duplicating himself. That this culture, this actually shows up, this archetype shows up in many cultures, and it represents the experience that no matter how hard we try, the problem we're trying to solve keeps growing and growing and growing. That what we, where we give, what we resist persists. What we give our attention to continues to grow. And there seems to be no solution. And faced with this, we can become hopeless. And if we hang out there long enough, we can become despondent. This is not a good place to be. Now, in this particular story, the gods are losing hope. And so they turn to Durga. And it is interesting that this goddess, known for compassion, is the one to whom they turn. Now, compassion, out of Webster's, David shares, is a sympathetic consciousness of others' distressed, together with a desire to alleviate it. And it's this second part, the desire to alleviate it, that moves compassion out of ineffective pity. Right? So we're not pitying people. Right? We're observing in a way that is factual, rather than getting caught up in the emotion of things, and not ignoring that there is that itch within us that is longing to help eliminate this suffering, alleviate this suffering, both for others and our own. For Ernest reminds us that there's no value in suffering, really, that the world has learned all it should through suffering, Holmes writes. So now, Kali bursts forth with this, with correct tools and tactics, that she has a bowl to catch the blood that's dripping. Right? And so she catches the blood, and then she also has, her superpower is the ability to devour these demons, which is why you see the extended tongue. And that eventually this demon's head is severed, and this can symbolize that when we present the seeds of suffering from hitting the ground of our consciousness, they no longer replicate. But David says, but it takes a fierce, focused attention to do so. So I really like what he's done with this story. And we also have here an interplay of compassion and destruction, that the goddess Durga represents compassion and mothering, while Kali symbolizes fierce destruction. And this duality can be seen as a metaphor for the interplay of different aspects of mind. Different aspects of mind. So when our mentality is calm, all is well. But when, as they say in 12-step, the grouch and the brainstorm, right, are let loose and given free rein, we suffer. From a science of mind perspective, compassion and destruction can coexist within the human psyche. And it's important to acknowledge and embrace all aspects of our being. Again, we're not playing let's pretend. We understand that there are shadow aspects to existence, as Jung called it. Shadow aspects, and that what is required then is simply to bring the light to the shadow. And it doesn't take much light to start feeling relief from whatever the struggle we may be dealing with is. And what is that light? That light is knowing the truth, and the love of the Most High is present now. that regardless of whatever big mound we may be dealing with, that there's a pony in there somewhere, right? So it's important to acknowledge that we are having this human experience, that we are spiritual beings having this human experience. To acknowledge and embrace all aspects of being, understanding that destruction or letting go of certain patterns can sometimes be necessary for our growth and transformation. In fact, if you think about it, the way of the law of circulation often works is that something must be released in order to make room for something, our next best life. And sometimes this can be releasing even good stuff. Let's say that we've been in this teaching for a while and we understand that we are working with, and thinking into this creative field of mind that demonstrates our tendency of thought, and the tendency of our thought is generally pretty good. And we have a car that's been sitting in the driveway that we paid the registration and insurance on for 2 years, that we never drive, and it's worth some money. And we may even know someone who could use a car, but it's hard to let go of it because, I remember I bought that car for $25,000 15 years ago, and now it's got 225,000 miles on it. And we think it has, of course it does have value. I don't want to take away from that. But what good could we bring into our life by releasing something that really we don't even need? We're just attached to, right? If nothing else, we're going to get back $1,500 a year in insurance. Plus. We can see in our own, using this example, a multiplier. So you have within your own life something that could be released, that could have a multiplier effect of good within it. Not to mention the impact on the life of the person who we've gifted something to. That could be exponential. So we let go in order to receive. And we do not pretend stuff's not going on. So in this story, got to give Shiva a little more love here. So Shiva, who's known as the destroyer of what? Destroyer of illusion, plays a significant role in this story. His act of offering himself to Kali suggests that confronting the illusions of the mind is essential to gaining clarity, and then stopping the destructive behavior. Now, in the science of mind perspective, overcoming illusions and limiting beliefs is crucial for our personal growth and spiritual development. And by questioning our assumptions and perceptions, we can transcend the illusions that hinder our progress. And this is really what we are up to here. So when we first come to this philosophy of the science of mind and spirit, we are drawn to this idea that we can bring more power into our life by allowing spiritual power to bring us insight, guidance, power, that we are thinking into and setting forth a spiritual prototype through a mind treatment to make something welcome in our life, that we are now willing to release any kind of unconscious invitation to the struggle that we may have been fighting with, this demon of struggle in its many manifestations for years. And we're now ready to release it so that something new can sprout. And we may have a sense of what that is, but we may not. But we have the faith of knowing that there is that within me that knows. And so we use it in ways that are consciously directed, but we also use it in ways that are unconsciously directed as well. And as we heal these things within our consciousness, in the beginning, those unhealed, unconscious things kind of bite us on the ankle, or maybe a little higher up, depending on how deep the swamp is, right? But we do our work, right? We identify, we call forth the infinite power and presence to bring some healing with that. And then it's just this constant understanding that we are really, what is it that we are healing is our belief that in some way we are separate from the Most High. And so we are drawn to an understanding of our wholeness with the Most High. And then even more importantly than that so is everyone else too. So the getting the stuff and things that's just the come hither from Spirit. Come here, my friend. I've got something for you. Until finally we demonstrate that one thing that we really weren't so sure that it would in fact happen, and it does. And we can't explain it away. It's not serendipity that we're left with, wow, this stuff really does work. There is a power for good in the universe available to me, and I have just used it and demonstrated it. And this is wonderful, and now I want to share it with someone else. All right, so let's, I got one more slide here. Those who practice this teaching should not be confused over any given form, but should know that any form which is not of the original harmony is subject to change. So this is really the work, that whatever is presenting itself to us in a challenging way out there is to know that we do the work within here, that we focus on whatever the opposite of this expression that we're struggling with, right? That everything is tied with pairs of opposites, and we create an affirmative spiritual prototype that in its own way, in ways that are often mysterious and even cosmic, right? That call forth a healing, whether it's in our finances, in our romances, in our health, in our creative endeavors, for opportunities for good, or even guidance, divine guidance, in the ways that we are intuitively drawn to the highest expression of life. So as we take a deep breath, we might consider the ways in which we can invite this into our life today in a greater way. That to invite the infinite power and presence of the Most High, the wellspring of love itself, the fountain of all creative ideas, that we invite that experience and expression of life into our heart and into our mind right now. That in this conscious union with the One, we experience a sense of power, even grace, that allows us to courageously move forward in life, to make those new connections of friendship, to embrace new ways of creativity, of love, that find their way into our relationships, both at home and on the job, within ourselves and within each other. So consider these things today and take these considerations into your week, and then let's get together next week and report. Let us know how we did.
Through my window, as the storm blows, I see flowers in the rain, past the thunder and the lightning. I am praying for a change, so when my little boy grows up to be a man, love will be the law of the land. And I'm calling on grace, spreading the word all over the place. Yeah, calling on love, dialing it up, 'cause we need it the most. Yeah, we need it the most. I see one love and one world, with no walls to separate us. I see beauty and laughter from kindness. In God we trust, and the only tears that fall in the night will be tears of joy, 'cause everything's all right. And I'm calling on grace, spreading the word all over the place. I'm calling on love, dialing it up, 'cause we need it the most. Yeah, we need it the most. So let the first be last, and the last first today. Then the world can start turning in a whole different way. 'Cause I'm calling on grace, spreading the word all over the place. Calling on love, dialing it up, 'cause we need it the most. Yeah, we need it the most.
That's good, yeah? Let's give her some more love. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Should have shut up 10 minutes ago. So let's invite, just let you do another verse of that song. Let's invite Chloe to bring our offering basket up. So if you've come prepared with an in-person offering, not required, but if you have, just make your way and we'll do 2 verses. If you're online today, just please take a moment to go onto our PayPal account and be as generous as you dare to be.
Spirit gives through me, Spirit receives through me, Spirit lives and breathes through me, Spirit lives and breathes through me. Spirit gives through us, Spirit receives through us, Spirit gives and breathes through us. Spirit lives and breathes through us.
So before we get into our blessing, I just want to acknowledge I'm teasing the folks online to come into the center in person, but I received a couple of messages this week of gratitude from Betty and Wendy and others, just expressing gratitude for the fact that we are live streaming and that we do have our service available online. So if you're one of those who frets about where the people are not, just know that they are, and they're joining us online, and that we're grateful for everyone who supports our center in any way. So this basket then represents the way in which our generosity finds its way to our center. It represents the heart of the individual, that generous heart of the individual that knows that they know that God is our source, our substance, our supply. It also represents the heart of this spiritual community as we accept these gifts. By whatever way your generosity finds its way here, through online giving, through the mail, through in person, that we receive these gifts with deep love and respect as we know together that they go forth to heal, to prosper, and to bless not only the vision and mission of this spiritual community, but anyone connected to it in any way. That from this place of gratitude, then, we extend a blessing upon our community of Granada Hills, our city of Los Angeles, our state of California, our United States of America, all of its churches, temples, mosques, schools, universities, the people who attend them, the people who support them, for our planet as well, that we know all of it is an emanation from the very mind of the Most High. And to the extent that we know this to be so, we see its full and complete demonstration in ways great and small. This lifts our heart. We feel a sense of grace, of power, of intuition and guidance that propel us into ways of spiritual living that raise not only our own lives, but the lives of those around us. And that's a good thing. And together we acknowledge this by saying, and so it is. Amen. And so let's give it up one more time for Teresa. And please show her some love in the chat. You are welcome to come out and try out our new railing if you would like. It works really well. And so it's great having you with us here in the house and online as well. And you're welcome to join us for a little coffee and something if you want to. If you're not ready to run out of here, you're welcome to join us and say hi. So pray us out, Rev.
Okay, so as I speak in the first person for everyone here and online, how grateful I am to be here at the Granada Hills Center or in my living room, just embodying that presence of God, recognizing that there is one presence which is God, which is the abounding source of all good, love, health, wealth, creativity, guidance, direction, and perfection. And I am one with the Spirit of God, one with its love, health, wealth, creativity, guidance, direction, and perfection. So as I accept and know that I am embodying and creating all that I desire, be it in the realm of love, relationships, health, financial wealth, creativity, guidance, and direction, I just know right now that everything is unfolding for me perfectly. So as I give thanks for this, I give thanks for this wonderful hour with Reverend Mike and Teresa and Mike and Evan and every single person here. I just give thanks for this wonderful Sunday morning and for the wonderful week ahead, knowing that I'm always walking in the charmed circle of divine love. And so I release my word with love and gratitude, knowing it is done, knowing it is so, and together we say, and so it is.
You want to join me in singing in the peace song? And if you want to join in circle, that'd be great. Let step I take, let this be my joyous vow.